philosophers. He said the only gods in reality are the two gods of pleasure and pain. Human beings will do whatever they can to engage in pleasure and will do whatever they can to avoid pain. And we need to construct and articulate an ethical theory that produces the greatest pleasure for the greatest number of people, or what provides, in his mind, the most use to the greatest number of people. And he qualified that according to pleasure. This is known as utilitarianism. So when I ask my students, why do you think we have an MTV culture? Why do you think we have a Jersey Shore? I ask them a few questions. My first question would be, how often do you like to read Aristotle? Not many hands go up. Okay. How many of you like to do charity work? A few hands go up, but not very many. How many of you like to study politics? A few political junkies will raise their hands. Right? Then I'll ask them, how many of you like sex? And everybody's hands goes up. I ask them, how many of you guys like to eat? Everybody's hands goes up. If the common denominator of our ethical theories will provide the greatest number, the greatest pleasure for the greatest number, we are reduced to our base instincts as human beings. Because we all don't have Aristotle in common. Quite frankly, I don't blame you. Aristotle's horrible. Read Plato instead. We don't all have charitable dispositions in common. We don't all have political dispositions where we seek social justice in common. But we do have sex and eating in common. We all do. We all enjoy sex. It's our biological disposition. It's why we procreate. So if you wonder why you turn on the television and you're bombarded by half-naked figures and McDonald's commercials, it's because of the convergence of utilitarianism and capitalism. Because whereas utilitarianism argues what's good is what provides the greatest pleasure for the greatest number of people, capitalism urges you to sell to as many people as possible. So we develop this consumptive culture where we consume MTV, we consume McDonald's, and it's ethically good to do so because it's free. It's liberty. That's how we've chosen to define liberty in the West, in the United States in particular. Now, what capitalism does is it creates a secular ethical culture. How so? Because we're just sort of individuals bouncing around each other, pursuing our own interests. We don't have a collective ethic. We don't even have a concept of a collective society. We are an atomized society, a society made up of individuals pursuing our own interests. This creates a spiritual thirst and appetite. We can't flourish spiritually, and spiritual flourishment has been part and parcel of the human instinct since the dawn of man. Yet it's being suffocated under a consumptive culture. And this is the thing that turns Muslims on, along with others, not just Muslims. Buddhists, Hindus, Christians, Jews, spiritual humanists. This idea of spiritual bankruptcy, this bombardment of consumption is problematic. Not to mention, increases your personal debt, which enslaves you further to your consumptive inclination that's constantly being thrown at you from billboard to billboard, commercial to commercial. But what has fascinated me is the Muslim response. So let me take a few items as examples of the Muslim response. The hijab. Visible, powerful, defiant. For a long time, I hear people argue that the hijab is a symbol of obedience. No, it's not. It's a symbol of defiance. It's a Muslim woman's way of defying the materialistic culture of the United States. It's a Muslim woman's way of defying the highly sexualized culture of the United States, where women are reduced to sexual objects, as are men increasingly. It's an insistence that you respect me, or at the very least, understand that my mind and my spirituality precede any ideas you may have about my body. Yet, do those spiritual reverberations come through is what I'm concerned about. Do they truly resonate in this struggle to redefine American culture, to challenge its highly materialistic and consumptive aspects? I don't think so. I really don't. It's a highly distinctive piece of clothing or garb, if you wish. It identifies the Muslim, but I don't think it does much more than that yet. Because what do I see? This is not a criticism at all, by any means. Instead of pushing forward that spiritual challenge to the highly unspiritual status quo, rather, I see the hijab gravitating more towards a consumer item, like other things. I see hijabs of all different kind of colors. I see people entertain ideas of there being like fashion designer hijabs. I heard a rumor that, I don't know, it was Calvin Klein. Who was it? What, Calvin Klein or something like that? They were going to start making one. Do you know who? You know, don't you? If you feel a little embarrassed by knowing, don't you? She may have one, she said. All right. Now, this is no fault of ours. It just demonstrates a lack of agency on our part. We have gone with the flow. And no, let me just hold the Muslim woman accountable for this. We enjoy consuming CDs that talk about the Prophet's life. We enjoy consuming little handbooks and manuals that give us a few hadith that we can consume in a ritualistic-like fashion to satisfy a very superficial level of spirituality. A spirituality that satisfies my personal need for consumption and nothing more. That doesn't challenge directly the very problematic foundations of the society that many, many people feel increasingly marginalized from. And as I want to strongly emphasize, not just Muslims, the decaying of a spiritual core. So we consume. We consume CDs, we consume Muslim magazines, we even consume ideas of Islamic economics, and Islamic this and Islamic that, because these are the products that are now being sold to us, as opposed to Christian evangelical products that are being sold to Christian evangelicals, and secular product or secular humanistic products that are being sold to others. We are just another group of people in a long line of consumers. That's what needs to be challenged. That is the defining challenge of the American Jihad. The question is, are we up for it? Have we developed the intellectual tools to be creative enough and universal enough to challenge it? And that's, of course, the agenda for tonight, and of course the agenda for our lives. So, well, I had a few more things to say, but I think I'm going to save those for the Q&A. I want to conclude by reiterating a few things. First, we need to constantly be aware of the socioeconomic and